See, everything is about our creation. And you can always know how your creation's going by looking at your results, just from an observer. So consciousness is how we think and feel. So you can always take a good tally in terms of what you're doing. You know, I talk about this all the time in this group. You have to have a significant image to succeed. To really create an extraordinary life, you have to have a significant image. I didn't make the rules, just that's part of the deal. And, you know, I really cannot relate to people who shrink. Because that's not who you are. That isn't how you came into this world. And we are not meant to shrink. When people are shrinking, they're not feeling. And they are so embedded with fear. And this is something we have to understand that's coming from the ego. It's coming from an emotional impact that is part of their identity now. And we've got to shift that. If I'm talking to anybody right now and you have a pattern of shrinking, I want you to let me help you with that. Because nothing sabotages you more than that. And anybody that's in my close circle, anybody I mentor closely, I really harp on that because that is one of the top, if not the top sabotagers. Because you're walking into the world every day saying, I'm not good enough. And you're doing all this studying, you're doing all the work, but you're not congruent with the work. See, if you understand the work, it is impossible for you not to create what you want if you work the ideas. But we have to work them coming from the state of being uncomfortable, from the state of getting emotionally involved with being uncomfortable, and from being integral with our word. So I promise you, I remember a time I was really super insecure. You know, I had just met Bob and he said, you can have whatever you want. Now, I didn't believe it. I really didn't believe it. You know, but he believed it. So unconsciously, I didn't even know I was doing it at the time. I believed in his belief. So if he told me to do something, I did it within a millisecond. Because he said, here's the deal. You have to do exactly what I tell you to do. And he used to tell me he fired clients. I didn't want to get fired by him, you know. So I had that going on too. So I had all this stuff going on. And, you know, when I chose into me is when my life changed. So every time, and I am not beating you up about, like, if somebody's sitting there and that's what they do, understand that's the dominating image that you're holding in your mind. And you've got to stop running from that. We want to create the image. We get to originate any idea we want. And I've shared with you all during this course, the most important image we have is the picture we have of ourselves. So we want to start observing our behaviors. So take a look at this, okay? Our results are a reflection of our behaviors. Our behaviors are a reflection of our activities. Our activities are a reflection of our paradigm, the dominating image going in the subconscious mind. Now, let me paint a picture for you. You know, 14, 15, probably even longer now, I had been studying this. And I mean, I had really thought I was studying. Now, I didn't know how to study then, but in my opinion, I was studying it, okay? And for 3 years, no results. And I can look back, you know, I had somebody who was strong enough to tell me the truth. And I appreciated the truth because everything's just feedback until we put it's good or bad. I didn't look at it good or bad. I just looked at it feedback. And Bob said to me, you don't know this, you know about it. All of a sudden, that one line, like a veil opened up. Like I saw the world differently from that one line. And I was doing a training, I don't know, last week, and I said, that one line had the most profound impact on my life. It had the absolute most profound impact on my life. And I realized what I was doing. Number one, my word didn't mean anything. Number two, I came from a state of not having it. No matter how much reading, no matter how much I was doing, I was coming from a state of not having it. And once I picked that up, everything turned in my favor. So everything turned. And I remember I was working with a client this morning. He said, what was it that you did that was the flip? And I said, there was a lot of what was it, but really, I got to a point that I was so dissatisfied, and I said, F it. And those 2 words, F it, changed my world. Because it gave myself the permission to go after what I want to myself. That's what I look back at, And we have to get to a point where we look at ourselves through who we really are. And when I say your spiritual DNA is absolutely perfect, we've got to understand that. That is a very big concept. It was so big that I rejected it in the beginning. But when I started creating that connection with myself, because this is you versus you, it's not me versus you or you versus your competition, it's you versus you. Well, when you come in and start understanding that, there's a virus code on top of that spiritual DNA, which is our paradigm. And what we have to do is we've got to eliminate the virus, because nothing will change until the paradigm changes. But when you start stepping into your power by saying, I am not doing this anymore, I am not shrinking anymore, I am truly operating with who I really am, not who I pretend to be. You're going to open yourself up to your God-given potential. And I will tell you this, and I want you to really burn this in your mind. There is no limit to what you can go do. I don't know what you can do. I don't know how far I could take this. But nobody can put a limit on me unless I let them. So what I'm asking you, and I'm encouraging you, for my shrinkers out there, that I want you to look at that in its eye and say, no more. I do not accept this. My spiritual DNA is absolutely perfect. And I am going to step into my power. I'm going to create my own economy. I'm going to create the life that I really want. And I do anything that comes in that is getting me back to what is comfortable, I'm getting out of it. And as you do that, you're going to break through and you're going to change right in that moment, you're going to change your image. You could change your image in an instant. You could change it over a long period of time. But in that moment, that's where it comes from. In that moment, I want you guys to rise up. Don't keep stepping down. Don't let the results give you your identity. Don't let somebody else who told you something and you took it personally. One of the keys that we have to develop as part of our identity is we don't take anything personally. We want to forgive ourselves quickly, learn from our past, but spend our time creating an amazing future from the present moment.